So we'll see how it goes. But why don't we start with just brief introductions on, kind of who you are, your company, anything you might want to say about mobile, and we'll jump right into it. So let's start with Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike Baker, co-founder and CEO of a company called DataZoo. DataZoo is a demand-side platform, which is technology used by ad buyers. It runs across mobile apps and mobile internet, PC, display advertising, and video, pre-roll video.
Ernie Cormier, CEO of NextStage. We're a mobile pure play supply side platform. We connect to DSPs, including DataZoo, and we take inventory from publishers and developers, and we optimize revenue on it either on our ad exchange or through a mediation layer.
My name is Larry Freed. I'm the CEO of 4C Results, and we measure the consumer experience through the lens of customer satisfaction across all channels, a lot on the web, and now doing a lot in mobile and social and call centers and stores as well.
Hi, I'm Eric Lippmann. I'm the founder and CEO of MediaLits. We are an ad platform for brands to do really interesting high engagement ads in mobile. So think about ads that can take advantage of everything you can do on one of the modern smartphone devices. Shakeable, rotatable, tiltable, scratchable. We haven't quite figured out how to make sniffable work, but we're still working on that one too.
Everybody, I'm Nahal. I apologize in advance for the plunging neckline. We just got these T-shirts. My company's called. Thank you. My company's called. If anybody wants one, we have them on the way. Company's called Local Response. What we do is we aggregate check-in data across Twitter, Facebook, Foursquare, and we actually help brands and businesses respond to those check-ins. So the check-in essentially becomes the proxy for behavioral targeting. Where we have reach and scale, and we can go to advertisers and develop highly targeted campaigns.
I'm Howard Morgan, managing partner at First Round Capital in our New York office, where we've invested in over 20 ad tech related startups, including Flurry, which is in about 70% of all the iPhone and Android apps to measure what's actually going on and who's using what where.
Hi, Chevy. I manage the mobile media products at Nielsen. So our job is really to measure what people watch and what people buy. And so the mobile screen is also very important from both perspectives, from what people are doing, but also what people buy.
I'm John Zezer, Chief Development Officer, Meredith Corporation. We're a leading media and marketing company. We are the largest media company serving the adult female. We reach approximately 85 million households every month with one of our products. And I have to say that I have an iPad too, but I lost it in the cab coming down here today, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, right?
It doesn't matter.
There's a secondary market for iPads now.
And you can locate it.
The IT department has told me they've swiped the records clean. I don't believe them though, so.
That's very funny.
You get a bunch of weird emails from me. They didn't come from me.
So let's start with Larry, with kind of the big picture, and then anyone can jump in here as we go along with each section. But Larry, why don't you talk about, what's the one thing about mobile that that you see out there that you'd like the audience to know that you see about consumers? What's the one kind of message?
The things that we're seeing is that it's becoming a great companion device. So we just completed a study about a month and a half ago looking at the retail industry and understanding for people that are visiting the top 100 retailers, and we had about 22,000 consumers that we talked to in that study about why they're using mobile, how often are they using mobile, and so on. And they're using it for a lot of different things. They're using it to check prices. They're using it to buy a little bit, not a lot. They're using it to comparison shop, to look at product specs, to read product reviews. And so it's really becoming a very powerful companion device. I think there's a big challenge ahead. I actually think if you kept drawing the chart that Gigi showed about the app world, that it's going to keep driving up, and then the bottom's going to fall out. Because if you think about retail, you might visit 50 retail stores in a year. You're probably not going to download 50 retail apps. So some of the other mediums have created or starting to create platforms how to interact with those mobile sites or mobile data, and nobody in retail really has done that yet, and I'm not sure retailers are going to want that to happen. So it's going to probably go the route of more loyalty than anything else, a very interactive loyalty program. In financial services, we also just completed a study. I think it actually got released today, and there were some interesting things there as well in with respect to mobile. there we saw that 25% of the consumers, and this was about 3,000 consumers we talked to, 25% were aware that their bank had a mobile app. And I actually thought that number was pretty low. The number of people that had said that they had used the mobile app for their bank, though, was 15%. So, you know, the 15% compared to the 25 is an incredible conversion rate. So if they know about it, they use it, and they were more satisfied using the mobile app than they were using the online banking website.
Wow. Why do you think that is?
It's very tuned, and that's the beauty of the apps versus the mobile optimized websites. They're very tuned to specific functions. But as you start to increase those functions that you want to do on those apps, and this is a big challenge for retail, as there's more things to do on it, they run into some real design challenges. And one of the things that may happen is they may end up creating multiple apps. I was at Target yesterday up in Minneapolis, and they have 3 mobile apps. I think eBay has 8 or 9 mobile apps. And so, you know, you're just getting this proliferation where websites kind of brought everything together. You know, we went from lots of distributed kinds of software to a single, almost a dumb terminal kind of interface. Apps has taken us back away, and then it'll start to come back together again, maybe with the new HTML.
Okay, I'd actually like to just throw this out there because at some point in time over the course of this panel it's going to come up anyway, and it's the whole apps versus mobile web topic. It wouldn't be a mobile panel this year if that topic didn't come up. So let's just deal with it and move on. The notion that there's this point of schism in the marketplace, this cliff at which all of a sudden mobile apps will drop off and the world will adopt en masse web technologies and mobile, I think is nothing but an academic discussion right now. The practical matter is there is enormous volume in the mobile application space and there is tremendous growth there. And in many cases, particularly among the media brands, significantly more usage among their mobile application inventory than there is among their mobile web inventory. That said, there continues to be meaningful growth in the mobile web space as well, and there are value points to developing and delivering your content experience on each of them. In the mobile application space today, you can do dramatically more as a content creator, as a utility provider, as a gaming company, using the native capabilities of mobile devices than you can in the mobile web experience. HTML5, which is the new content description language, it's sort of the next generation of what happens inside of a browser, is widely touted as being a replacement for native applications on all platforms, not just in mobile, including on the desktop. But the practical reality is the investment dollars from Apple, the investment dollars from Google, from the big platform providers right now, in their R&D is largely going into their native platforms in mobile, not even on the desktop. HTML5, the gap between native capabilities and HTML5 continues to widen. So it's not something that's going to change anytime in the immediate future.
So let me challenge that a little bit. I mean, only because
Go for it.
if you play for the if you have an iPhone and you go to twitter.com now, you get their HTML5 mobile app.
Sure.
And its experience is just about the same as the mobile app experience. You can touch things and so on. So it is coming. The speed with which it'll come, I don't know. I don't think there'll be a complete schism, but it's always the case that if you tune something for native hardware, you do better and you limit yourself. And the world, as hardware gets faster and faster and more powerful, you can make something more general purpose run fast enough on other hardware. It'll never be as great as this finely tuned thing, but it'll be much more broadly spread. So for certain kinds of apps, I think the HTML5 is going to come faster, and I think the Twitter app is a terrific example of it on the iPhone today.
And when that replacement comes, the adoption rate changes very quickly if we look back at technology. So, you know, look at client server, right? You know, you don't have to look that far back. And you go and you see, wow, once that new thing, that replacement comes, it doesn't go away, right? Because technology is always incremental. But we're going to see a fast adoption of the next version when it hits that critical mass.
Yeah, I think the limiting factor has been even network speeds, right? And so now with 4G and LTE around the corner, there's some great companies. One of our investments is on Swipe that's actually porting linear media to tablet HTML5, and I mean it feels like you're in a fully featured rich media app if you're in Wi-Fi. And I think it's just a matter of time before those speeds become accessible to everybody.
To a certain extent, it's a manufactured controversy because it makes panels like this more sexy and exciting.
At least 3 minutes.
Exactly. I think the biggest problem is going to be on the screen side or the content side, because they have to work out their strategies to work across apps and HTML5 or browsers. On the in terms of advertising, I think we're going to be able to make it basically invisible or kind of hidden from the advertisers, so they're not really going to care as long as we can make the rich media units and video work across both. It's like any other technology. Nothing gets kind of replaced altogether. You end up with a blend. If you're running a hardcore high-performance game, it's going to be a native app. If you're trying to develop an app that will work across multiple platforms without $1 million a year of maintenance and 20 engineers doing nothing but maintaining the app, you're going to be writing a mobile web. And discovery will get better and better on both.
So, Shivan, do you have any comments on what you see out there in terms of consumers and trends in consumers?
Sure. So we actually just shared some some insights yesterday. So I'll talk a little about both smartphones and tablets. So both sort of adoption continue. I mean, the adoption rates are really, really impressive. I mean, if you think about tablets, the first one came out just 16 months ago, and it's already up to 5 to 6% now. That's pretty impressive, and we're just now going to hit a lot of tablets coming in terms of Android devices coming into the market. Mm-hmm. I think you'll see price points also go down. And with the upcoming holiday season, I think tablets will be a really, really hot item, right? So adoption rates for tablets will continue. I think smartphone rates have continued to grow. And now if you go to any of these sort of carriers, they're giving away smartphones for free, the Android phones, with any plan, right? So everybody, any new customer now is actually getting a smartphone, right? And then in terms of usage, I think what we've seen in the data that we've had, there is a good mix of both paid and free apps, right, across both smartphones and tablets. But if you look over the last sort of 14 to 16 months, the number of free apps definitely have increased a lot. So a lot of app developers have moved from paid to sort of free or freemium models and doing a lot of the in-app purchasing or driving revenues by advertising. So that will continue. But on tablets, one of the things we're seeing now is actually consumers are willing to pay for high value production content, media content, especially when it comes to magazines and video. So, and the other good news also is, at least for now, as far as tablets go, consumers are actually very willing and open to sort of advertising, right? And some of the survey and the data that we have actually suggests that people are actually going in, they remembered the ad, they were receptive to it, and they either bought something on that device, or they bought something on the PC, or they called the 1-800 number, or actually went to the store. So this is really, really encouraging. As far as the search and discovery, I think consumers, when we ask consumers, how do you find your apps? I think the two big reasons that came out there were, well, they search on the App Store and friends and family. So word of mouth is actually much, much stronger. And so I think there's an opportunity in terms of search and discovery. On these, because there's so many apps in these app stores, there's a pretty big opportunity there for companies.
There's a huge opportunity in discovery. We, as I say, we funded Flurry. There are other companies doing it. It's still very hard with 350 to 500,000 apps, figuring out which ones you want. And so, the first thing I do with people when I sit down next to them is, what apps do you have on your iPhone or on your Android, to figure out which ones they like, and that's how I learn. And then you tweak them, and then they grow that way. We are seeing the real usage now with things like Flurry and putting out data every time an app is used to figure out what's really used to get to the high rankings in the app stores. And you're right in terms of advertising. The one thing I'd say about advertising, particularly on the phone size as opposed to the tablet size, is that local becomes very critical, because you don't have enough ad impression time on a phone, the way you do on the web. So you're just not going to get enough ad impressions to make a lot of money with the mobile ads from just showing a banner. So it is local and local response, basically figuring out where you are and what can I offer you. That's really lead gen that makes the big money there.
And one other thing I'll add, when we actually did a very focused study on smartphone users, for the first time, I think privacy is a concern for them. So we actually found that consumers are starting to think about privacy on mobile phones as being something that they actually think about.
Do you think that's really related to the whole privacy, the online privacy, that that's just gotten a lot more higher visibility?
Yeah, sure. And then there is also certain events that have happened over the last few months. I think with the location data on Apple and
Yeah.
Google, I think that certainly has a lot of consumers